chapter excretory products and the elimination. So excretion. Now human excretory system. We learn human excretory system. So excretion is the removal or elimination of waste products. Excretion is basically removal or elimination of waste products of metabolism from body in order to regulate the composition of body fluids and tissue. Human excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder, urethra, urinary bladder and a urethra. The kidney is covered by a layer of fibrous connective tissue. So kidney is covered by a layer of fibrous connective tissue, the renal capsule. Outside the capsule is a layer of fat, the adipose capsule, followed by a fibrous membrane, the renal fascia. So renal fascia. The renal capsule, adipose capsule and renal fascia constitute the protective coats of kidneys. So renal fascia, adipose capsule and renal capsule. These three will cover kidney. It is a protective coat to kidney. Towards the center of inner concave surface of kidney is a notch called hilus or hilum. So there is hilus or hilum, that is the inner concave surface of the kidney. There is a notch. Blood vessels, lymph vessels, nerves and ureters enter or leave the kidney through hilus. Ureters carry urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. Now ureters carry urine from kidney to the urinary bladder, from kidney to urinary bladder. Urinary bladder stores urine temporarily. Urethra in males carries both urine and semen. In females it carries only urine. So in the urinary bladder, in males it carries both urine and semen, but in females it will carry only urine. There are two distinct zones in kidneys, an outer darker renal cortex and an inner lighter renal medulla, which is made up of 15 to 16 conical subdivisions called renal pyramids. The lateral boundary of each renal pyramid is delineated by renal columns of Bertini. Nephrons or uriniferous tubules are morphological and physiological units of kidney. A nephron consists of two parts. An initial filtering component, the renal corpuscle, that is renal corpuscle or Malpighian corpuscle, and a long tubule, the renal tubule. The renal corpuscle filters out large solutes from the blood and delivers water and small solutes to the renal tubule for modification. The renal corpuscle is composed of a capillary network called glomerulus and a Bowman's capsule or glomerular capsule. So it composed of a capillary network called as glomerulus and a Bowman's capsule or a glomerular capsule. Bowman's capsule consists of two layers. Now Bowman's capsule consists of two layers, an outer parietal layer, consists of simple squamous epithelium, and an inner visceral layer consists of specialized epithelial cells called as podocytes, containing filtration slits through which filtrate filters. Now, glomerulus is a capillary network within the Bowman's capsule. Blood enters glomerular capillaries through afferent arterioles and leaves through efferent arterioles. So, it enters from afferent arterioles and leaves from efferent arterioles. The efferent arteriole divides to form peritubular capillary network around convoluted tubules of nephrons. This network gives rise to vasa recta which extend in medulla. So this gives rise to vasa recta which extends in medulla. Attached to each Bowman's capsule is a long, thin renal tubule with 3 distinct regions. So Bowman's capsule has long, thin renal tubule with 3 distinct regions, that is proximal convoluted, tubule PCT, then loop of Henle and distal convoluted tubule that is DCT. Distal convoluted tubule continues into a short straight terminal part called collecting tubules. Collecting tubules of many nephrons open into large tubes called collecting ducts, which join to form still larger ducts called as ducts of Benney that open into renal pelvis through medullary pyramids in the calces. Smooth muscle cell of both afferent and efferent arterioles is called as juxtaglomerular cells. So this is smooth muscle cells of both afferent and efferent arterioles. The epithelial cells of DCT in contact with afferent arterioles are collectively called as macula densa. Macula densa is nothing but epithelial cells of DCT which is in contact with the afferent arterioles. The JG, that is nothing but juxtaglomerular cells together with macula densa, these two form juxtaglomerular apparatus, that is JGA, juxtaglomerular apparatus. Nephrons are of 2 types. First, cortical nephrons. About 80 to 90% of total nephrons are superficial and originate in cortex and have relatively short loops of Henle. They deal with the control of blood volume. So, deal with the control of blood volume. Then secondly, it is juxtamedullary nephrons. 10 to 20% of total nephrons are present at the junction between cortex and medulla and have long loops of Henle. This has short loops of Henle and this has long loops of Henle. They deal with increased water retention, when water is in short supply. Now, urine formation. It includes glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion. So, it includes glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretion. Glomerular filtration or ultrafiltration. Let's see this first. Occurs because the pressure of the blood flowing in the glomerular capillaries is higher than the pressure of the filtrate in Bowman's capsule. So the pressure of the blood flowing in this capillaries, glomerular capillaries, is higher than the pressure of the filtrate in the Bowman's capsule. It does not require the expenditure of energy by kidney cells. The quantity of glomerular filtrate formed each minute in all the nephrons of both the kidney is called as glomerular filtration rate, that is GFR. In the normal person, GFR is 125 ml per minute. 125 ml per minute. Okay. So tubular reabsorption is the second process in the formation of urine from filtrate. As much as 99% of the material in the filtrate is reabsorbed. So all the things which go to the urine, and then there is tubular which takes in, suppose this is the tube. So there is tubular reabsorption. Whatever elements which are required are taken back to the body. So preventing the loss of water, nutrients and ions from the body. As a consequence, urine contains mostly waste materials and excess of water. About 65% of the glomerular filtrate is normally reabsorbed in the PCT. So 65% it is reabsorbed where? In PCT, that is proximally convoluted tubule. So before reaching the loop of Henle, glucose, amino acids, vitamins, hormones, sodium, potassium, chlorides, phosphate, bicarbonates, much of water and some urea from the filtrate are absorbed. Sulfates and creatinine are not reabsorbed. So sulfates and creatinine are never reabsorbed. Sodium and potassium are reabsorbed by primary active transport. Glucose and amino acids are reabsorbed by secondary active transport. Water is reabsorbed by osmosis. Chloride, ions, urea and other solute are reabsorbed by diffusion. The filtrate is isotonic to blood plasma. In descending loop of Henle, water is reabsorbed due to increasing osmolarity of interstitial fluid. Sodium and other solutes are not reabsorbed here. The filtrate becomes hypertonic to blood plasma. Ascending loop of Henle is impermeable to water but permeable to K+, Cl- and Na+, and partially permeable to urea, so the filtrate becomes hypotonic to blood plasma. In distal convoluted tubules, there is an active reabsorption of sodium ions from the filtrate under the influence of aldosterone. Water is reabsorbed here under the influence of antidiuretic hormone, that is ADH, secreted by the posterior lobe of pituitary gland. This makes the filtrate isotonic to blood plasma. In collecting duct, further reabsorption of water takes place. Now the filtrate becomes hypertonic to blood plasma. Sodium is reabsorbed in the collecting duct under the influence of aldosterone. The filtrate is now called urine. Thus urine is hypertonic to blood plasma. So urine is hypertonic to blood plasma. Tubular secretion refers to the addition of selected materials from the blood to the ultrafiltrate and thus increasing its volume. It occurs mainly by active transport. It takes place in DCT and PCT. The expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder is called micturition. So, micturition is nothing but expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder. It is a reflex process, but in grown-up children and adults it can be controlled voluntarily to some extent. Countercurrent mechanism. The counter current means that the fluid flows in opposite direction in the two sides of the loop. So they flow in the opposite direction in the two sides of the loop, down one side and up the other. It helps to maintain a concentration gradient in the medulla interstitial fluid, which helps in an easy absorption of water from the filtrate present in the collecting duct. So the concentration of filtrate is increased. That is, concentration of urine is increased. The proximity between the loop of Henle and vasa recta as well as the counter current in them help in maintaining and increasing osmolarity towards the inner medullary interstitial fluid. This gradient is mainly caused by NaCl and urea. So this is mainly caused by NaCl and urea. NaCl is transported by the ascending limb of loop of Henle, which is exchanged with the descending limb of vasa recta. NaCl is returned to the medullary interstitial fluid by the ascending portion of vasa recta. Similarly, small amounts of urea enter the thin segment of the ascending limb of loop of Henle, which is transported back to the medullary interstitial fluid by the collecting duct. Regulation of kidney functions. As blood pressure decreases, the cells of juxtaglomerular apparatus release the enzyme renin. So, as the blood pressure decreases, the JGA releases enzyme called as renin and they activate RAAS, that is nothing but renin angiotensin aldosterone system. Renin converts angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. So this converts angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. Now angiotensin converting enzyme, that is ACE, then converts angiotensin 1 to this ACE will convert angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, a peptide hormone that is the active form. Angiotensin 2 increases the synthesis and release of aldosterone, raises blood pressure directly by constricting blood vessels, and stimulates sodium reabsorption by the proximally convoluted tubule, that is PCT. Aldosterone is a hormone secreted by the cortex of adrenal glands. So aldosterone is an hormone secreted by cortex of adrenal glands. When aldosterone is present in the blood, all the Na plus in the filtrate is reabsorbed by the epithelial cells of the collecting duct. Retaining Na plus raises the osmotic pressure of the blood and reduces water loss from the body. When water content in the body is low, the posterior pituitary secretes ADH. So, which increases the reabsorption of water in DCT and collecting ducts by making them more permeable to water. Therefore, small amount of hypertonic urine is eliminated. Now, there is another hormone, a peptide called as ANF. That is nothing but atrial natriuretic factor. Atrial natriuretic factor, which opposes the regulation of RAAS, that is renin angiotensin aldosterone system. This factor can cause vasodilation and thereby decrease the blood pressure. Now thus RAAS, ADH and ANF regulate the functions of kidneys. So which are the three things which regulate? RAAS, ADH and ANF. They control body fluid osmolarity, salt concentration, blood pressure and blood volume. Now coming to the disorders of excretory system, kidney stone. that is renal calculus, formed by precipitation of uric acid or oxalate. It causes severe colic pain in the back spreading down to thighs. Stone may pass into the ureter or urinary bladder, may grow and result in severe pain or blockade. Then glomerular nephritis. Glomerulonephritis. So inflammation of glomeruli due to injury, bacterial toxics, drugs, etc. It is inflammation. Uremia, accumulation of urea in blood due to malfunctioning of kidney. Highly harmful and usually a consequence of kidney or renal failure. In such patients, urea can be removed by hemodialysis. So accumulation of urea in blood. Lastly, kidney or renal failure. Renal failure is a medical condition in which the kidneys fail to adequately filter the waste product from the blood. Now, hemodialysis should be started after diagnosis is done. In hemodialysis, blood is drained from an artery into a dialyzing unit which contains cellophane tube surrounded by a fluid of same composition of plasma except nitrogenous waste. Cellophane membrane allows passage of molecules based on concentration gradient. Nitrogenous waste hence freely move out and cleared blood is pumped back to the body through vein.